Oh, they try so hard, endlessly, to smear Donald Trump, to claim he's the villain and the bad guy. And now we're learning that, this woman who was the grand jury, the lead juror in the Trump grand jury, may have sabotaged the entire thing by doing a spate of press interviews in which she comes off as very anti-Trump, extremely biased, and outright unhinged. In this viral tweet from the 22nd, Daniel Bostic says this is real. It isn't parody. This is the lead juror from the Trump Georgia grand jury. And she's a bit off her rocker, talking about how, wouldn't it be so cool if I got to subpoena Donald Trump? And it's like, whoa, lady, this is not going to work out for you. Here's what you need to understand. Newsweek's reporting. Emily Kors has harmed image of Trump Georgia probe former prosecutor. Oh boy. The grand jury does not decide ultimately if charges will be brought against anyone. And this woman leaving the grand jury after 8 months and then doing all this press circus where she comes off unhinged may very well backfire in that now this prosecutor is going to be faced with a very serious conundrum. Do I move forward with people saying the jury foreperson's out of her mind and clearly hates Trump, thus tainting the entire trial and creating very serious reasonable doubt? Or do you just walk away and try again or not try again? It's remarkable that these people, they can't help themselves. They're not well. They're children. You know, look, politics be politics. And I've been talking about this stuff for a long time. But what really got me, what's really been getting my focus over the past few weeks has been the domestication of the American people. You know, normally I'd say the world, but there's this video of little boys in China putting together what are they, like a 1911? They're dismantling and reconfiguring handguns. China is teaching their young men to be warriors, and the United States has a bunch of puppies. That's the way I see it. A wolf or a puppy. That's it. Now, I'm not saying that wolves are invincible and fearless, but they're tough. And dogs are effectively wolf puppies that never grow up. And that's what we're seeing with videos like this, of this woman being like, I'm 30 years old, and grow up, lady. I suppose here's the issue. Millennials, Gen Z, our generation, we're effectively like domesticated versions of other people, in that permanent children. And thus, Donald Trump may win this one. I think he probably will, because every single time they come at him with this stupid garbage, it doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. Donald Trump shows up in East Palestine, delivering water and food for these people. Joe Biden could not be bothered to even get a photo op. And that's what people are saying about Trump. They're saying Trump just wanted a photo op in East Palestine. I'm like, okay, well, at least there's that. A photo op implies you as a person care what people think about you. That means if Trump was going down just for the photo op, he is trying to endear himself to the American people. Wow, what a thought. Joe Biden, not so much. No, he wants to endear himself to the Ukrainian people. Well, good for him. So, after all this hard work in trying to go after Trump, it may all backfire. Let's do this. We have this from Newsweek. I'll read you the first paragraph, then I'll show you the video so you can understand how this woman, this unhinged anti-Trump woman, may have just destroyed any potential case against him. Newsweek says the four women of a special grand jury in Georgia's recent spate of interviews may have helped Donald Trump's insistence that the investigation into his attempts to overturn the election results is a witch hunt, but will not hinder the inquiry, a legal expert tells Newsweek. Okay, well, I may not be a legal expert, my friends, but I'm a media expert. And I can tell you this, one thing to consider in anything is the negative press and the collateral damage. This applies to everything. The famous story about these two people protesting in front of a McDonald's in the UK, and then McDonald's sued them and won. Amazing. And it caused massive damage to the corporation in terms of, I think it was like their stock dropped or something like that. I can't remember. But the problem was it looked like a big corporation bullying some poor working class people. It don't work out for you. So now when corporations are confronted with activists, they take this into consideration. Do you think a prosecutor who now has to do jury selection if they actually move forward with this, is going to be like, there's no problem here. This lady, everything's totally fine. We got more than one video from her. Let me show you the videos from they're not that long. Check this out. Let's play this stuff.
Former president, but honestly, I kind of want to personally want to hear from the former president. I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
Welcome to America. This is the current state of the country. Let me play you another video.
There are indictments recommended, of course. Is it more than 12 people? Is it more than 20 people?
I think if you look at the page numbers of the report, there's about 6 pages in the middle that got cut out. Allow for spacing. It's not a short list.
Not a short list. More, I mean, when it comes to 75 witnesses, like, it's not, I assume, of course, it's not 75 people. Would you characterize it as 20-ish people?
I can't say I counted.
Okay. More than a dozen, though, I think I'd heard you say in another interview.
I believe so. That's probably a good assumption.
The name that everyone wants to know about is former President Trump.
Of course.
Did you recommend charges against Donald Trump?
I really don't want to share something that the judge made a conscious decision not to share. I will tell you that it was a process where we heard his name a lot. We definitely heard a lot about former President Trump, and we definitely discussed him a lot in the room. And I will say that when this list comes out, there are no major plot twists waiting for you.
So what does that mean? There's no major plot twists. That more than a dozen people are facing some kind of indictment. Sure, fine, whatever, dude. We knew this was coming because they don't want Trump to be able to run in 2024 because he'll win. They may have gotten lucky in a lot of ways with 2020 in that, well, aside from procedural changes, universal mail-in voting and things of that nature, they had a pandemic and people were confused and angry. Now, Joe Biden's proven that he is a senile, crackpot old fool who will ditch this country at its worst moments to go and drop $500 million on Ukraine. How is that one going to play out for you when it comes to election season? Well, they got one option, and it certainly ain't Joe Biden. It is indict Donald Trump and then dump all your money into, say, someone like Ron DeSantis. Now, look, I like DeSantis. I do. I don't think it's the apocalypse. I think these people are just willing to take what they can get. And if that means we get some victories with Ron DeSantis, I'd take it. But at this point, I am leaning more towards Trump. It's tough, to be completely honest, because I look at DeSantis and he's got tact. And then I look at Donald Trump and he's brash. But I see in Trump, I see leadership. And I'm not saying a poised general wearing a fine suit who's speaking proper diction. I'm saying I see a guy who can actually make decisions, lead the charge. That's what we're seeing with East Palestine. A lot of people saying that this is old Trump. This is 2016 Trump. He's coming back. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not 100% convinced. I think Trump in 2016 was something unique. Trump's got to pull out all the stops. But understand this. Trump gained more than 10, what did he gain? 10 million new voters from 16 to 2020. Now, why is that? That's something to consider. Now, as for this unhinged woman who's acting like a cartoon character going, oh, tough people. I'm like, this is my generation. Okay, look, I'm about to be 37 years old. I'm an old man. Cue all the old people being like, you're a young man, you're not old. No, I get it. But there's a lot of people who are younger than me who watch. So we're all old to them, right? These millennials and Gen Z, have you noticed on social media they act like cartoon characters? They bounce around and talk like this, like they're in a Disney movie. People's brains are being liquefied by the plethora of digital content that exists today. Kids are growing up watching these movies, watching these Disney cartoons. And perhaps the issue is some people who are of sound mind grew up watching human beings in movies. And some people grew up watching cartoons, and they created an identity based on how cartoon characters bounce and talk and make weird faces with their eyes. That's what she's doing. What is this? You're doing an interview and you go, yo. As it goes, strong men make good times make weak men make hard times make strong men. You've heard it before. But that's what we're seeing. This woman is acting like she's got some kind of manic issue. We put her on a grand jury to lead it. Why? My understanding is, maybe it's not the case with grand juries, but when all the jurors come in, they nominate a foreperson, and then they vote and say, okay, you can do it. It's exactly what I'm talking about. The reason we keep getting people like this, like, what is this weird behavior where she's like, her eye, we get people like this because everyone is too damn lazy and scared. Not every single person, and maybe not many of you. I think most of you probably are not falling in this category, but too many people are like, just you do it. I don't want to be involved. Why? Well, the risk is too great. Okay. I wonder what this world would be like if, say like in World War II, the U.S. soldiers that defeated the Nazis were like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't want to do it. The risk is too great. What would this world be like? I don't know. I really don't. We have ancestors, and these individuals would risk everything. These people got on boats to travel on a 3-month trip across the Atlantic, where I think around 20% of people die on the boat, and they know it. They make it to the shores of nothing. They arrive in the Americas, and there's nothing there. I mean, there's a little bit. There's forts, but for the most part, they come here to nothing. They got on boats and came here and said, we're going to land, and then we immediately need to start roughing it. Pioneers. Many of them died because they wanted something more and they believed in something. It's a crazy thought that people were willing to risk everything, even their own lives. Now, where has that gone? We are becoming a nation of children, of acting like Disney characters, bouncing and like doing the eye thing, and like, it's just so weird. It's so strange to see. But here we are. Now, I don't know if they will, to what degree this is going to harm the indictments. Honestly, I will say I believe 100% it has. That doesn't mean it will prevent them. I'm willing to bet right now you've got the DA going like, oh, this woman, what is she doing? Because even Newsweek is saying it's lending credence to Trump's claim it's a witch hunt. This lady clearly doesn't like Trump. She's clearly self-obsessed, and she does not look well in the mind. And people all over the country are seeing this. Now, if you're a cartoon character millennial and you hate Trump as well, okay, you're probably giggling and bouncing in your chair as well. But that's not everybody. And that's probably, that's not even anywhere near the majority. Regular people are going, what's going on with this woman? What is this? Like, are we going to get a real assessment on this? Or is it going to be just creepy weirdos being given positions of authority in these grand juries? Am I supposed to trust this? 72 million people voted for Trump. Without a pandemic, I don't see Biden being able to pull off a victory against him. And they all know it. But this means two things. One, it means not only is Trump likely to win, he absolutely can win. He is likely to win. But it also shows that there are many, many more people in this country, probably every day, that are waking up, seeing how bad Biden is, regretting it, seeing things get worse. And then they see this, and boy, are they embarrassed. That's you. Everybody who supported Biden, you're the weirdo acting like a cartoon character on TikTok. So insane. Look at this. Emily Kors, who spent 8 months hearing evidence and witness testimony as part of the Fulton County criminal probe, recently took part in a media blitz detailing some aspects of the special grand jury's report, including indictment recommendations. During interviews with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the AP, the New York Times, as well as CNN and NBC, Kors said the list of recommended indictments in the report is not short, while indicating Trump could be one of the names. Kors also suggested that she would be disappointed if no charges were brought forward following the special grand jury's recommendations, because too much of my time was spent on it, and provided other details and tidbits of information about the witness testimonies. Elsewhere, Kors openly mocked Trump over the former president's claim that he had total exoneration from the grand jury investigation. Did he really say that? Oh, that's fantastic. Coles told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. That's phenomenal. I love it. Niyama Ramani, a former federal prosecutor and president of Los Angeles-based West Coast trial lawyers, said that while perhaps inadvisable, Coors did not violate any state laws by discussing the special grand jury report and as revealing its deliberations. It is also the Fulton County DA, Fannie Willis, not the grand jury, who will ultimately decide on whether to bring forward any charges in the investigation. Right, the grand jury would recommend. Coors' media tour isn't helpful and feeds into Trump's argument the grand jury investigation is a political witch hunt by a Democratic district attorney and left-leaning mainstream news media. Yup. But setting aside bad optics, it won't have much of a legal effect on potential indictment. The special grand jury could only investigate and make recommendations on what charges to bring. Willis can indict Trump or others because of or in spite of Coors and her fellow grand jurors' recommendations. And that's right. When she goes on TV, and this is something people need to understand about media, it taints the actions you wish to take. Let's say you want to build, let's play the game called the media. Let's say you get a bunch of money to build a community center. And you start building it. And then someone comes out and accuses you of running some kind of criminal organization or enterprise. The next day you show up and your charitable event and your community center is surrounded by protesters saying that you are trying to create a front. The local politicians then say, listen, I don't know what you're involved in and I don't want the heat. My phone has been ringing off the hook. I'm done. We're cutting your funding and taking your permits. And you're like, I just wanted to make a community center. What happened? Good intentions be damned. This woman going out on TV, she may as well have thrown a pie in the face of the prosecutor. Because now, what should have been a quiet maneuver has become loud screaming. And this means the prosecutor in this may now be faced with people saying, hey, what are you doing? Okay, if this woman didn't go on TV and Trump gets indicted, people are going to be, wow, I wonder what this is all about. But now that everybody's seeing this crackpot woman do these weird interviews and be like, ooh, I want to subpoena the president, ooh, and making these faces. Now you're going to have the potential backlash of, is this why you're indicting Trump? Is this why you're wasting our time and money? DAs are elected. Now, I don't know if this is where ultimately will come down to an ADA or an associate or assistant district attorney or the actual DA, but they have to face politics as well as anybody else. And this may be a Democrat district, but there's going to be fallout if this looks like it's a witch hunt. In fact, it may, in the end, help Donald Trump if he does get indicted now. Donald Trump can now use the image of this woman and say, this is an illegal, this is corruption, this is fascist. He's going to come out and say, these are the people that want to stop you. And he can use it as a rallying cry. You see, these millennial cartoon character weirdos are so self-obsessed that they don't understand self-sacrifice for the purpose, for the point of succeeding. They don't get it. There are kamikaze pilots we've learned of in history, crashing their planes, dying. There are, let's say, ninja or assassins. The actual history of the Hashashin, which is that they didn't expect to live. They would go in, take out the enemy, and then likely die on the spot. There are people who believed in self-sacrifice for their cause, and it certainly ain't these millennials. They care about self-congratulation. They care about putting themselves on TV and getting more followers, and that's what this Emily Coors woman is doing. She doesn't care about indicting Trump. What she cares about is that she's special. She gets to go on TV. Ooh, so special. Good. I'm glad. And this will make it so much easier for Donald Trump because now everyone's going to see the bias in the prosecution before it even happens. Trump can use this when he does run. And even if he is in jail, he can still be elected president. I assume if he's charged at the federal level, he just pardons himself. I don't know how that works, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know if there was a big legal debate over whether or not someone could pardon themselves. Sure. This is state level. This is Georgia. And they're arguing he was trying to interfere in the election and all that stuff. They will try any lie, any manipulation to stop him. Why? They want you to accept someone like Joe Biden. They want you to roll over and just let it steamroll this country. Not I. Joe Biden's abandoning of East Palestine has me seeing red. And Pete Buttigieg shows up in the wee hours of the morning to meet with bureaucrats and doesn't meet with the actual people. These people are scumbags. Not to mention, I got another story for you. That dude, that other energy secretary, a woman's come out and be like, hey, look, see the clothes I'm wearing in this Instagram post? He's wearing my clothes. It's a kleptocracy. They're stealing everything as the ship sinks. And Donald Trump is trying to get it upright again. Ron DeSantis is a good dude, and I like him, and I like his policies. I don't know if he has what it takes to be a Trump. Look, Donald Trump didn't do everything perfectly, and this is the funny thing about his presidency. People are like, look at who he appointed, and look at what he did. And I'm like, yeah, those sure are a whole lot of bad things, but I don't understand. We had George Bush. We had Bill Clinton. We had Bush again. People cheer for Ronald Reagan. What? The dude was pro-gun control and got rid of no-fault and enacted no-fault divorce. It was a disaster. I've not had a single president in my lifetime where I can be like, they did a good thing. Donald Trump is that. So again, people say things like, I don't know about Trump. He had John Bolton. I'm like, yeah, Bolton's real bad. Real bad stuff there. But he did give us the Abraham Accords. He did try to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula. I will take it. It's the best I've ever seen. I love it. I said Donald Trump is the best president of my lifetime, and all these lefties are losing their minds and banging on the table and making all these videos. And I'm just like, you can say every bad word about Donald Trump. You can say every bad person he appointed and every failed policy. And I can just be like, wow, that's crazy, because it was still better than Obama. It was still better than Clinton, than Bush, at least in my lifetime. So you're not saying much. And then when we get a Joe Biden, you think I'm going to care about any of the bad things you can accuse Trump of doing? I'm going to be like, yeah, like Obama blew up kids, put more troops in the Middle East. You've got the banker bailouts, the economic crisis. That was all Obama. Oh, was that it was Bush's fault? Great. Let's talk about how bad Bush was with the Iraq war and Afghanistan. Boy, they were both doing a lot of the same stuff. And then Donald Trump comes along and I get a modicum of something good that completely outweighs the bad, or at the very least, you can say this. Donald Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime because the bar is so low, it's 6 feet under. It ain't hard for Trump to get past. But for these drone bomber presidents, warmongers, crackpots, and establishment elites, Donald Trump may have been not great in terms of what we really want from a president. But in terms of the past presidents in my lifetime, Donald Trump was the best. So they'll do anything they can to stop him. We'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on the channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.